and WN. Orioles late nighting it out in California and trying to scuffle their way to first place, or excuse me, 500, not first place, but how about second place in the wild card? And then, of course, fake football. So we got plenty of that happening. But other things are percolating around here, and certainly golf being one of them that on Sunday, I'm sure, when they're going back 9 at Quail Hollow, which sounds like a wonderful retirement community, it will be PGA, and that means golf is here for one of the Grand Slams, and my man is here, our Compass Point golf pro and one of our golf insiders. He also does a lot of college basketball in the area, one of our defending champions, as we like to say around here. Robert Kennedy joins us once again. You can follow him out on Twitter at Buckets and Birds. You know, Buckets and Birds could mean beer and baseball around here, Robert, but in your case, it does mean basketball buckets and birds as in birdies. How's life down at Compass Point? And certainly, for anybody that loves golf, this is one of the big weekends, and let's be honest, it's fake football and West Coast baseball. Golf's going to get a lot of attention around here this weekend.
It is. It's, great to be with you, Nestor. Yeah, it's, that dog days of summer, as they call it, where there's not a lot going on, people that aren't into the preseason football and, pennant races aren't really there a few weeks away from that. So, great time for a golf major, for golf to take center stage for this week. And as the tagline used to be, "Glory's last shot" for the PGA Championship, but as we'll talk about in a few minutes, they won't be able to use that any longer. So,
yeah, I mean, this is a real mix. This is dogs and cats, right? I mean, golf never moves anything ever, kind of famously, including the issues they've had down at Augusta over time. But they're moving when a major is being played. I don't know how the lords of golf, reign over that. But I remember when baseball went to interleague play and added wild cards and crazy stuff like that. Golf doesn't do this. This is like moving. The Masters from Augusta or something. It's a little weird, right?
Exactly, and I think that's one change we will probably, safe to say, that won't ever happen. The other three, the Lords of Augusta may say, you do whatever you want with your other little three, but we'll stay right here in early April.
If they move, as long as they move it to Valhalla, I'm okay with it, because I just like to say Valhalla.
There you go. So,
I love the names of the golf courses. As I get older, things like Quail Hollow, and Butler Cabin or whatever, Den, whatever they call it. I love that stuff. So it does make me laugh. It does.
You're right. The quaint little sounds and everything. So, but yeah, in 2019, not next year. Next year it will still be in August again, but 2019 it'll be moved to the middle of May, right after Mother's Day week, and it'll fill a void. Actually, a lot of people, we go from the end of this in August all the way through April for us golf nerds without a major. You wonder how we'll live, and Masters comes around and we enjoy it, and then it's another 2 months before the U.S. Open in June. So this will actually slide in nicely to May, where you'll have a major for 4 straight months. In conjunction with this, the Players Championship, which is, at TPC Sawgrass in Florida, which has held the middle of May spot for the last several years, will move back to March, where it was for many years. And that'll kind of be the official, that's going to be the first big tournament of the year that people look at it. For many people, they've called it golf's 5th major, because it's,
that's how I've always referred to it. I mean, I've always heard it. That's the next one that sort of everybody wants to play in. And can I just ask you? I'm just I've been to 2 golf tournaments in my life. I've played a couple of rounds. I like putt-putt in Ocean City, as we know. I like going to the range and beating the crap out of balls. And thankfully, I was taught very well how to hold a golf club, so I can hit a golf ball kind of straight. But other than that, I watch it, and I'll watch majors, and my wife kind of likes watching it, and she likes going out and, hitting a few golf balls before she had cancer the first time. She likes doing it. But the weather, right? Like, when I think about, for me, and I think about these guys that go out to Arizona and Florida on golf trips and whatnot, I don't like 94 degrees and above unless I'm in yoga outfits and surrounded by pretty girls and there's candles, brewing and I'm doing dogward down. When I see a mid-August important tournament being held in Charlotte, North Carolina, where it could have easily been a buck 05 with global warming at this point, that, it can make for real discomfort for the people on the course, for the golf. You're not getting the best golf. When I think of Jacksonville in May versus Jacksonville in March, it's probably a better tournament in March, right? Like, so to some degree, moving this stuff around, for me being a novice who knows nothing, thinking, well, weather would help you sell more tickets. I mean, the same thing with what we had up at Caves 2 weeks ago. You know, if it's 105 degrees, it's a much more uncomfortable tournament than if that tournament were on a nice day in the first week of May or something, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're spot on all that. And it makes so much sense for every reason you just mentioned, which is probably one of the reasons why it happened. You know, everyone's like, you know, I mean, the real driving force behind it is the conflict with the Olympics now that's going to happen every 4 years.
Okay, fair enough.
You know, and that happened last year where, you know, the first time that golf was back in the Olympics and since forever, it created a real cramped schedule between the British Open, the PGA Championship, the World Golf Championships, and the Olympics, and then they had to jump into the FedEx, and it was like the last month was just too jumbled. So that was the driving force, was to, you know, get a little bit more space there in August, but, you know, between the Olympics when it happens every 4 years and the other events. But then you're absolutely right for the weather. I mean, if this PGA Championship had happened 2 weeks ago, you know, when we were all, like you said, 105 plus, I mean, it would be, yeah, a typical brutal survival type thing. And instead of have, you know, very pleasant weather this week, and, you know, you're seeing the guys out there in shorts and everything for the first time ever.
Yeah, what's that? You know, that's not very country clubbish, you know? I mean, they really are much like baseball and horse racing, trying to find someone who's 21 who's not rich that cares about this, right? Kind of, sort of, right?
Absolutely, you know what I mean?
And so are you at Compass Point, quite frankly. You're trying to attract me and my wife, as we get older and our knees break down, to coming out and playing around on your course, because we're not necessarily in the club right now. You're trying to find new people to put in the club.
Yeah, we want you guys out. We want the 22-year-olds who, you know, think it's you know, a boring sport and everything, you know, that they have to dress up and wear, you know, pants in 105 degrees and everything.
Hey, man, the first thing 20 years ago when I went out on the golf course and I sat here, one day I'm going to play the best of. I did a golf rant on a day when I went and played 18 holes, and I had a real jerk in my foursome. And, yeah, it was kind of a funny bit, but 20 years later. And one of the things I always made fun of was, like, I was always afraid of being the guy from Dundalk who had the wrong shoes, the wrong pants, the wrong divot. And I went out on a course that day, and I got an education about, you know, peeing in the woods and a fox running across the. Literally, I had all sorts of crazy things happen that day. But you know, I was always a little overwhelmed by the etiquette of it all, and I mean, tennis to some degree too. But I played a lot of tennis as a kid, a ton of tennis, probably more tennis than I played anything but baseball. And you know, I guess there's formalities in all sorts of places, but golf does have this exclusive thing about it, and I think they're trying to soften that, and that's what shorts on the course. Boy, that, you know, that raises eyebrows this week, like I guess mustaches did in baseball in the 70s, right?
Absolutely, and the thing about that, see, this PGA Championship is run by the PGA of America. You know, not to be confused by the PGA Tour, which, you know, to the casual golfer, they hear PGA.
I don't know the difference.
Entity.
Educate me.
But the PGA of America is the, you know, association that oversees all the golf pros at every golf course in America.
Okay.
You know, and they're really, you know, tasked with growing the game, as, you know, the phrase goes. You know, unlike the PGA Tour, which the players belong to, and it runs probably 80% of the tournaments throughout the year, they have all their rules, such, and one of that's a dress code. Well, the PGA of America can, for 1 week a year, say, just like Augusta does, this is our tournament, it's our house, our rules, to use a term we're familiar with in this area. And they decided for this week, you know what, it's not going to be the end of the world if we let the players wear shorts during practice rounds. And, you know, and they'll be back in their pants and everything for the tournament and everything. But you know what, it wouldn't surprise me if 15 years from now, it's shorts everywhere except for maybe Augusta, and we look back and say, man, remember when those guys wore pants? You know, what was up with that? It's just, you know, the PGA of America just, I think they're showing that they're kind of listening to things with the change, you know, to May from the August, you know, with the shorts and everything. And, you know, credit to them for, you know, at least realizing things need to change and, you know, things, what can happen, you know, to make the game better and make it more enjoyable for more people. And, you know, it's been kind of cool to see Ricky Fowler and Jordan Spieth out there in shorts.
Well, instead of just saying we're golf, screw you, we're going to do it our way, I think there is at least this acknowledgement now that they do need to grow, that some people are dying off or weaning off or aging off or whatever it is. And whatever that Tiger Woods sensation was, kind of the same way, chicks dug the long ball and baseball was trying to, McGuire and Sosa its way into and Cal Ripken its way into the hearts of fans after the strike, and the way the NFL is always trying to rough up the edges after moving franchises and, having guys kneel for the national anthem. I mean, everybody's in image control, right? And for golf, I have heard stories from everyone everywhere that, the Woods thing kind of happened and they thought, oh, black, Asian, young, appealable, controversial, dislike. It's a he's Ric Flair. Half people love him, half people hate him, It was kind of all of that, and now in the afterglow, he's this sort of broken down, I don't want to say pathetic. I mean, dude's made $1 billion playing golf, but he's had kind of a pathetic story and a pathetic rollout of whatever the rest of his life is going to be. And I know he's done some charitable turns and all that, but whoever he's turned on to golf's in now, he's not recruiting anyone else. And some people like me thought he was just a different kind of jerk. I watched to see somebody beat him, and rarely did it happen, but I didn't like him. I never liked him. I met him once. He was a jerk to me in a social setting, and I never, I just rooted against. He made me watch golf, but he was the bad guy for me. He was the guy I rooted against.
Yeah, and, just like a lot of athletes in a lot of different sports, you're going to get 50-50, and there was just as many. You were not the only one that feels that way, and then there were, the people that think, he's going to change golf. He's going to be the next great thing. And he was, as far as the next great thing, for 15 years, as from a playing standpoint of it, 20 years.
But I can't hate on Ricky Fowler. I mean, I think Daly's a bit of a buffoon. So, putting him on the billboard was not like an enticement for me to come out and watch him go be a buffoon. But I'll say this. I mean, this young crop of golfers, I could be won over. I'll be watching this weekend, right? I mean, just like I watch the Masters. And, and I do think Jordan Spieth has some, class and dignity and coolness. And, but I don't have anybody I dislike. And I like good golf, right? So, on a Sunday afternoon. But I'm not the guy that's ever going to be like, burning a candle on a Thursday morning for tee-off at, amidst the mist in Augusta and sit and watch 12 hours a day every day any more than – some nights it's hard to watch 4 hours of baseball every night for 160 nights in a row. So, I think for getting the attention of people, there are a lot of people that play golf that don't watch golf, a lot of people that watch golf that don't play golf. But, this is a weekend I think that a great weekend and a great finish and a star is born. I loved Bubba, by the way. Bubba to me was, that was sort of one of the reasons I would show up and watch the circus, because I thought he was an interesting character and I loved his story.
Yeah, and he absolutely is, and he's one to watch this weekend as well. It's he could very well win this as easily as 6 or 7 other guys could. And just on your point about liking the younger guys, that's what's cool about these guys: Jordan Spieth, the Ricky Fowler, the Justin Thomases.
Everybody likes them all, right? They're all baby faces.
Yeah, you don't only see them out there on Sunday, trying to win these championships, but if you follow Instagram and Twitter and everything, you see them the very next week on the beaches in the Bahamas, throwing back Coronas, barefoot, just having a good time like most 25-year-olds and 27-year-olds do. So these are guys that the young people that they're trying to get into the game can relate to, and that they're not just the stuffed up old white crowd out there.
Hey man, you know what? And I'll say this: as a kid, I watched more NASCAR, IndyCar, AJ Foyt and all that. I watched so much more tennis. Whether it was the Martina Navratilovas and Chris Everett, maybe because Pam was from here, and Connors, McEnroe. I don't watch tennis like that anymore. And look, there's one guy that just wins all the tournaments, and there's a couple of girls that that usually win all the tournaments when they're not pregnant or whatever. And so there's been such domination, and I think Woods had a domination that, I I'm not into the tennis circuit because there is no Eli Nastasi. There is no McEnroe yelling at. I mean, part of this is there is a little circus and a little noise that has to come to it, and this is a great era for golf. I mean, the equipment's better, the courses are better, the announcers are better, the bodies are better. These guys aren't smoking cigarettes and drinking six-packs and have the John Daly body. It's like baseball. The game is being played better, kind of, sort of, but everybody's striking out and hitting home runs, too, and that doesn't necessarily make it more compelling. And I think golf needs an infusion of something. I don't know what it would be, but I don't want to say controversy because it's had that as well, and that's not, Tiger Woods' girlfriend slamming golf clubs into the windshield of the car and leading TMZ isn't what golf wants to be either, but good golf this weekend and the attention on it, I think they think that should be enough, but shorts, how about that? Let's wear shorts, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's something so simple that you think, why hasn't it been done before? They're so slow to change. It was, I don't know, in the last 7-8 years ago that the caddies were finally allowed to wear shorts. For the longest time, they had to wear the long pants and everything as well. And, I think it took a few of the power players, probably, at the time, including Tiger Woods, who stood up for his caddy and said, hey, if Steve Williams can't wear shorts this week in your tournament, guess what? I'm not going to play. And it took a few things like that to, get the PGA Tour, to relax its rules on the caddies doing it. And this week, the PGA of America just went a step further with, the players. And it was probably 10, 12 years ago. I went out to one of the U.S. Open qualifyings that was held at Woodmont Country Club over in Rockville. And that's where some of the players that weren't high enough to qualify went through to try to make it in U.S. Open. And it was a non-official PGA Tour event. So guess what? Fred Funk was out there trying to qualify, and he was wearing shorts. And, walking along, there were no ropes and everything.
Well, there would be a comfort level. And, for a guy like me back in 1997, when Norm Vikoski was giving me lessons on golfing, on a 92-degree day to have to wear long pants, a kid from Dundalk that loved putting sandals and shorts on like April 9th, if possible, and would leave them on until November 15th, if possible, I didn't like baking on a golf course in May and June or getting out of bed at 4 o'clock in the morning and driving to wherever to try to tee off and at 8:45 in the morning having it be sticky. Comforts, look, that's one of the reasons all these apparel companies have made such a killing to some degree is making comfortable stuff for 94-degree days for golfers because it was different 20 years ago out there. But being comfortable, it's my weekend. It's my Saturday. I don't want to sit out and roast on a golf course or watch other guys roast while they're trying to make $1 million making a tee shot, right?
Absolutely. It just, gives you that more relatable feeling to it. And like you said, it's, any one of us, other, that don't belong to the 100,000-plus entry country clubs around here, that's the way we play golf on weekends, So, again, like I said, I think it won't happen next year and probably won't happen the year after, but I think this is the first step to 15 years from now where it'll be, something we don't even discuss, it's just like, it's hard to believe that it was ever the other way around. So it's like, it's created a great talking point this week, which, like you said, it gets people talking about golf and everything. And there's going to be some people that, even though practice rounds aren't really on TV, unless you're the hardcore person turning into the Golf Channel at 9 o'clock that night to see the recap of everything.
But that's there for you if you want that. It's the same thing with the MLB network or, there are people watching the NBA network this summer and watching. I walked in a sports bar and they got these guys out in Las Vegas, wherever the hell it is, playing summer basketball and some gym and, the NBA. And I'm like, I can't imagine after watching the NBA finals that I would want to watch this. But, God bless them if you're into it, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that, a lot of that, was due to the Lonzo Ball issue this year. I think someone said something the other day about he'd been covering the NBA for, 20-some years, and he's never even, written the word summer league versus let alone go to one, but yet. Well,
there goes your John Daly, there goes your freak show, right?
Right.
So, and if that's what you want to be to keep headlines, look, the NFL's got its headlines with Colin Kaepernick that has nothing to do with on the field. They haven't had a snap in 8 months, and look at how much we've talked about the NFL since Tom Brady, spiked the ball at the end, right? Think about how much football has crossed our brain, and ain't nothing happened other than fake football this week, right? So, and nothing will happen for another month, quite frankly, except injuries and drama and protests and practice and sweat and ACLs and that sort of thing. So, hey, at least we got real golf this weekend. Fake football, Oriole baseball on the West Coast. Robert Kennedy is our dear friend. He's down at Compass. Tell me what you do at Compass Point, because I want to promote that for you. He's at Buckets and Birds on Twitter as well. Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, absolutely. I handle the tournament sales here for the course. We are a public course, and we have 36 holes, so we're a great place to have corporate outings, the charity fundraisers, the scrambles, where, again, talking about the everyday golfer, the guy that only, we talked about, only comes out once or twice a year. He gets a chance to come out and play with his company or a charity he's sponsoring and everything. Play golf for that once or twice a year and come out and have a good time. He doesn't have to worry about, duffing it into the woods because, he gets the drop down and hitting the fairway where the A player plays from. So yeah, I organize those type outings for the course. We do a great job. I mean, it helps a lot of the organizations, schools, charitable organizations, everything in the area, put on a fun day to raise funds for whatever their cause is. Everyone has a great time. So we do that pretty much nonstop from April through
downtown,
October.
You're like maybe 15 minutes, right? Like really, without traffic, maybe 20 minutes.
Maybe 20, yeah, without traffic. I mean, we're 15 minutes from BWI. I've driven downtown to the Inner Harbor from here after work and made it easily in under 30 minutes.
You know how many times I've been down to Nabbs Creek and Solly Road, and that used to be the back road to Ocean City when you're a kid from Dundalk. You jump off Fort Smallwood, and you would go down Solly Road. You take that to bypass all the Ritchie Highway traffic. So, and by the way, in the 1980s, all of the best softball players, and I covered girls softball, were down at Severna Park, Northeast, and all up in the Chesapeake, because the Chesapeake of Essex and then the Chesapeake of Anne Arundel County. So you're in the midst of all that down there, right near funky Pasadena, where a lot of my friends reside.
Oh yeah, yep. We're right in the heart of it, and just off the 100, and we get a lot of local support from the people in the Pasadena, Severna Park areas. But a lot of these outings, they come from all over. We get the Baltimore County outings. People from up there. We have actually one of the big outings we'll be having in September. Domino's Sugar, one of the larger companies.
That sounds sweet.
In the area is holding one here, so they come from everywhere. Gotcha.
It was a delayed reaction, dude. I mean, I'm on the radio. I try to be clever. I mean, 25 years into this, it's some days it's like an old pitcher. It's like Sutcliffe at the end. Some days I got nothing.
No. My problem is I have to sometimes convince myself to stop talking and listen.
You need more coffee is all it is. Well, I'm going to send everybody out to Buckets and Balls to find you, as well as at compasspointgolf.com. Love having you on. Love talking some golf, even though, hey, I don't talk golf much, right? But when I do, I try to make a little bit of sense. And like everything in my career, I try to bring people on that know more about it than me. So you can, I just make jokes about it. You really know what's going on. So I do appreciate that. Who's going to win this weekend, by the way? Yeah, you didn't give me a prediction.
Yeah, that's right. We didn't actually pick a winner, did we? It could be any one of 6 guys. I think, the favorites are obviously Dustin Johnson, Rory McIlroy, Jordan Spieth, Ricky Fowler. Rory McIlroy has a history here. He's won 2 tournaments there during the regular tournament. It actually serves as a regular tour stop in the years that they don't have, so this is the first time it's been a major there. So he has the course record. He's won there twice. He's never finished, I think, outside the top 10 once. But I like Dustin Johnson. He was the best player in the world the first 3 months of the year before he fell down the steps at a rental house the eve of the Masters, and he's kind of, been fighting his way back from a bad back.
That's been the biggest story in golf this year, right? That incident, right?
It really was. He was looking to make history there. Winning at Augusta, he'd won I think 3 tournaments in a row going into that. It would have been his first Masters win, obviously, following up his U.S. Open win last year. And he was, golf has such a short memory. Whoever wins the week before is all of a sudden the favorite next week. So
because they're playing the bet. It's like a horse that won the last race, right? I mean, literally. That's how all of this is based on current form, right? Literally. Right. Yeah.
But because it's been 5 months since he's won, people have forgotten that he is actually still the number 1 player in the world rankings. So he's my pick. I think he's slowly been getting back into shape. He's got as good a length of anyone other than maybe him and Rory McIlroy. So from a golf fan standpoint, I can't imagine a more exciting tournament than him and McIlroy playing in the final round on Sunday, and let the chips fall where they may.
Buckets and Birds. He does golf sales for a living. You can find him out on Twitter. He is Robert Kennedy, and you'll find him somewhere near the hardwoods in the coming weeks as they start dribbling the basketball into October and November. Robert, great having you on, man. Enjoy the weekend. We'll see you down at Compass Point, all right?
Thanks, Nestor. Good talking to you.
You got it. Robert Kennedy joining us here. You can find me out in the Bayou Toyota Audio Vault for all things Ravens and Orioles. Took a little break, did a little golf. No problem. I'm even going to sneak some tennis in here in the coming weeks for the U.S. Open as well. So I'm getting back on the horse around here for football season, fake football, West Coast baseball. Luke's on it. I'm on it. We're out in the social media space, as you well know, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, streaming live on our Facebook as well as our YouTube WNSTV channel. Any breaking news over the weekend, you'll get that first on the WNST Tech Service. That's all brought to you by Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. We are throwing a party in London next month. If you're coming over, hang out. We're doing a Saturday, kind of an all-day, really kind of a special thing. I'm going to get some information to that, and it's all open to everyone, no charge, no door, no nothing. Just come, drink, eat. Bring your pounds, as they say. Nasty at WNST.net finds me. You're going to walk enough in London, you're not going to gain pounds. Eat anything you want. Drink anything you want. We are WNST.net AM 1570 and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking golf and Baltimore sports.